Hi, my name is Melissa and I want to do a couple of quick videos just to help moms in simple ways find solutions when you need to give your kids a haircut. It doesn't have to be professional, it doesn't have to be perfect, but little ways so that you can try to do the best job of trimming your kid's hair. So this is my son and I'm going to trim his hair and show you how you can blend using a number 1 clipper below the occipital bone, which that's this bone right here, which is a really easy and great way to use that as your guide for where to go from a number 1 to a number 2. And then the number 2, you're gonna stop right as the head begins to curve. So grab your clipper, grab your number 1, have your child put their chin all the way down, which stretches out their neck and makes it easier to trim. The other thing is people often ask me, well, what clipper should I use? Use whatever clipper you can find that's in your budget. You usually get what you pay for. So the more you spend, the higher quality you get, which is just a really general guideline. And I'm just using scooping motions, kind of like a C curve, up to that occipital bone and stop. Sometimes if the hair growth goes a certain way, you can turn the clipper to go against the grain of that hair growth pattern, but otherwise you just start in the center, work your way to one side, and then work your way to the other side. That's my dog scratching. And now I'm going to switch to a number 2 and go just above the occipital bone. Look down, start in the center, and work from side to side to just above the ear. You can see I'm going to just about where the top of the ear starts. If you wanted to be extra fancy, you could even go for, like I have the number 2 on here, you could pick a number 3 and do a number 3 higher up to the curve of the head, but I'm going to take the number 2 all the way to the top. If you work in smaller sections, it actually is a little bit easier. You might see that there's a little line here that you can go side to side to see if you can blend some of that hair. But I use that same scooping motion. So now that I made it to the top of the ears, I'm going to go a little bit higher. One thing to keep in mind when you use your clippers, especially the more you use them, you do need to oil them so that they glide better. Use that same scooping technique. And I'm going to go right up. Usually you'll run into some whorls, which is where the hair begins to grow. If you need to go against the grain of the whorl, you can do that to make sure you get all the hair. So then when I'm just above the ear, I follow it around the ear and up the sideburn. And I'm just going to keep using that scooping motion. You can guide the clipper a little bit to the left or right if you feel like there's any sections of hair that you can't quite get. Depending on how the person's hair grows, go right around their ear. And that would be the start to a very simple, easy haircut. And if I wanted to go in to try to get those lines, I could use a comb and a clipper to just trim. If you go sideways with the comb, perpendicular to, if the line's going this way, I'm going to hold my comb this way. Don't be afraid to move their head around, and you'll see how some of those hairs will stick out longer. And tilt their head and find those long hairs that stick out. Make sure that you're always standing in front of the area that you're cutting. Don't try to stretch yourself too far. Ta-da! And then you have a simple number 1 to a number 2 haircut for a boy that took us 5 minutes.